Right?
All right,
I guess. Welcome
I'm
back.
I made the call.
All right. I trust you did. So let's talk about Donald Trump. You were saying.
Well, I mean, I talk about Kamala and Trump, yeah.
All right. So what do you want to know? What do you want to talk about?
I guess what's your decision making on your vote? Like, why are you choosing to vote for Kamala?
Yeah. So I look at Kamala Harris, and something that I was taught at a young age from my family is that you don't solely vote based off of policy, okay? You can agree with somebody on everything, but if they are a terrible person, don't give them your vote. And you can disagree with somebody on many things, but if they're a quality person, vote for them. And this is in part why I have voted for Democrats and I have voted for Republicans. I have voted against some Democrats and I voted against some Republicans. Kamala Harris, though, checks all the boxes. This is somebody who, when you look at her record and her background, you have somebody who passed the Inflation Reduction Act, American Rescue Plan, CHIPS and Science Act, Respect for Marriage Act, the Infrastructure Package, tried to, in a bipartisan way, pass the border deal. And these are policies that benefited middle-class Americans and the backbone of the country, created tens of thousands of jobs, and not just like part-time jobs, but good-paying union jobs that will last decades, jobs in construction, electrical, plumbing. I also look at the fact that she is a walking, talking accomplishment on her own. I mean, knowing, yes, that she did spearhead the infrastructure package, knowing that she attempted to get a historic border package passed until Donald Trump interfered, knowing that she's able to negotiate items like that are accomplishments, yes, but so is her and her name on its own. I mean, this is a woman from a middle-class background who gets us. This is a woman who is not, only of middle-class background, but as a black woman, had every card stacked against her. She had no right becoming an attorney general, let alone vice president, but she persevered because she's that strong. So that speaks to her character and that speaks to her background. And yes, so I do agree with her policies. I agree with the $25,000 down payment for first-time home buyers. I agree with the $50,000 for small business entrepreneurs, the $6,000 permanent child tax credit. And I agree with her character. I look at Donald Trump. Not only do I disagree with his policies, for example, he doesn't have a single policy in his plan that benefits the mother or her baby after she gives birth. But then he claims to be pro-life. No, now you're just pro-forced birth because you're not supporting the mother financially after she gives birth, but you're forcing her to give birth. That is not pro-life. I can't support that. I look at Donald Trump, and I'll make this very quick. I'm almost done. I look at Donald Trump. This is a guy who violated the Second Amendment, but runs around touting how he protected the Second Amendment. He implemented a bump stock ban, and whether you agree or disagree with that, I am a Second Amendment Democrat through and through. And thus, that was in violation of the Second Amendment, which is why it was overturned in June of this year by his own Supreme Court. He is the first modern-day president to have violated that Second Amendment. We also, and I'll end it here, those are policies, but when I look at character, no matter how many times people try to say the political persecution, blah, blah, blah. No, I believe in law and order and I trust our law enforcement. Donald Trump is a felon. He is a sexual abuser. He is a civil fraudster. And I know down to the cent because I'm the guy who programmed the website that tracks his debt as it increases with interest, featured in Huffington Post. So again, no character here, no policy here. Policy and good character. I'm on Team Kamala.
Okay, I like that you're pro second. That's good to know. I mean, Kamala did, or Kamala, or however you want to pronounce it. She would violate the Second Amendment. She did say she would. Well, she said in an interview that she would like to seize firearms in the first 100 days she's in office.
When?
2-3 weeks ago.
She said that she wanted to seize firearms within the first 100 days in office 3 weeks ago.
That. I mean, look,
because I've seen all her interviews.
Hey, look, if you want to look it up and look for yourself, go for it. I mean, there's no point in arguing it because I mean, I'm pro second, you're pro second. I mean, we're both gonna have our views on that.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
At the same time, you said border, but I mean, roughly 10,000 to 15,000 immigrants were coming in through the border every day. I mean, I'm from Chicago. I mean, I have immigrants taking over apartments. You can look it up. Colorado, I mean, is a prime example. I mean, what about all those immigrants that are coming over and doing crime? I mean, that's not being talked about. I mean, you said you're about, women's rights, right? Mm-hmm. which is good. I mean, I don't, agree with Trump on his rights for women. I mean, I can second that, but for the most part, Trump would be the better candidate overall for running the United States. I mean, look at Joe and Kamala. I mean, they put us in a situation with Russia that we didn't really need to be a part of. I mean,
wait, now we're getting a little silly here. So hold on, I want to.
I mean, it's not really being silly. I mean, Russia told them if we supply Ukraine funding.
Well, no, wait, sorry.
Weapons,
I mean, silly is in a little pivot here. I want to talk about some points.
We're just talking about based off what they did in office and what Trump would have done in office. What I'm saying is, if Trump was in office, we would never be in the situation of we're basically in a World War III.
Well, no, you're not, and I disagree. So when I look at the record on this, right? You mentioned immigrants coming in and committed crimes. Sure, some are, yeah, absolutely, and yet. White men in America are statistically more likely to commit a crime than somebody crossing the border. That's the fact. But that being said, I also want to recognize that we have less border crossings today than we did under Donald Trump. And for a time, yeah, there were some high border crossing rates. But I understand it takes time to solve that, and clearly they have. Again, and I want to applaud them for that. There are less border crossings today than there were under Donald Trump. Third, I want to talk about the border deal real quick. This is a border package that Kamala put forth that would have secured the border in its entirety, from the border wall to allocating resources for security to giving millions of dollars in resources to border states, put a cap on immigration, would have blocked illegal asylum seekers. I mean, this would have made the conversation we're having about the border redundant because it would be secured in its entirety. Donald Trump stopped that deal from passing. That was him. Okay, so again, we can talk about who would be better for the border, but clearly that would be Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, because they put the deal on the ground. They almost got passed until Donald Trump stepped in. I don't trust Donald Trump with the border anymore. You can't, because he put politics first. Now, I also want to recognize you talk about Russia. Okay, we don't have a choice but to help Ukraine. Maybe you don't like it. That's a different story then. But you don't have a choice. You signed the Budapest Memorandum in the 90s. We denuclearized Ukraine so that if Russia invaded, Ukraine didn't take a rash decision and nuke Russia, because then this would be a different kind of war. That's not a bad thing, because now we offer them weaponry that's not nuclear, and that's our obligation. And if you have an issue with the money going to Ukraine, recognize that money was passed in the Republican legislature. Like, it was the Republican
and then you said
House.
Working class, right? I'm union, and I have not benefited from them whatsoever.
Okay.
So, from personal experience with my job, I have not benefited from them at all, union-wise, let alone house market in my area. Is skyrocketing. I mean, I was looking at a roughly $400,000 house back from 2018 to 2023. It went from 385, 425, 445, now all the way up to 700,000.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And you said she would benefit union, or they would. I mean, wouldn't they've already?
Well, no, they'll protect your union.
Protect us, but
right.
I mean, it's not like we really would need protected, but.
Well, no, it does. It does. So you need to. So they'll protect your right to join a union.
Union is actually already protected as it.
Well, I hear you. I hear you. It's not. So they'll protect your right to join a union, and for that union to protect you, if you have an issue with your union, and some people do, right? Unions more often than not benefit the worker, and sometimes the worker disagrees, and absolutely you're allowed to disagree, right? That's your personal experience, and that's valid. But let's recognize, though, that's between you and your union. Donald Trump is part of the Republican Party that is currently deunionizing people by implementing right-to-work states. We see this in Virginia. And this is where you're stripping away the right of those who do want to be part of a union. They're taking that away. That's not okay, because that's anti-freedom. Now, I also want to talk about housing market. Let's recognize here that, we're young. It's tough right now to buy a home. I have a family member who just bought a home. Same price tag as you were just discussing there, about $400,000. That's because there's not enough houses. And Kamala has a plan for this, but she also has a plan to make it more affordable for young Americans like us. And MAGA Republicans are trying time and again to change this because it's a good policy. MAGA Republicans claim that if you're a first-generation home buyer, you'll get a $25,000 homing credit under Kamala. That's not true. If you're a first-time home buyer, if you buy a home yourself and you haven't, if you don't already have one, then she'll give you $25,000 as a credit to do that down payment to get your home started. That's a win. That is for young people. You look at the $50,000 she wants to offer to first-time entrepreneurs. You want to start a small business? Go do it. Right now you get $5,000. Under Kamala, you'll get $50,000. She'll give you a $6,000 child tax credit to support your firstborn. So again, in total here, you're going to get a $6,000 permanent child tax credit that will decrease over time to $3,000, but by then you're on a strong financial footing. So that child tax credit, you will get $25,000 as a means to buy a home, to put the down payment, and $50,000 to go start a small business. Let's also recognize that that is to support people who especially don't choose to go get a college degree. But if you wanted to get a college degree, let's recall that Kamala and Joe tried to forgive student debt in its entirety. Donald Trump's Supreme Court stopped them without any grounds to do so, because they were on the part of, they were protecting the predatory lenders. So yeah, I look at Kamala's policy and I recognize that helps people like me, people like you. I look at Donald Trump's, and what does Donald Trump's do for us?
Well, I mean, to be fair, prices were better. House market was better. I mean, it's been shown that around 18 to 23, they were actually able to buy a home.
Hold on,
if you were in the working class and you were making good money, you were talking about college education right there.
I hear you.
If you went and got a good degree or had a good paying job, 18 to 23, when he was in presidency.
Hold on, I hear you.
They were able to buy homes.
But you missed the question. So again, I hear you, and we'll talk about rising costs, and we'll talk about the market, and we ought to thank Obama for that strong economy that Donald Trump stepped into, because there was no mass policy that Donald Trump implemented that impacted the economy to the extent that you're giving him credit for. That would be Obama, who was already there for 8 years. Now, I want to make clear as well, the question that I'm asking is, what policy does Donald Trump want to pass that would benefit us?
Well, I mean, tax.
Go ahead.
Right? Tax. I mean, working class, right? You said working class. So, let's say, average, I mean, I could be working 12 hours. It varies in union, it just depends on the job. But imagine not getting taxed so much on your OT or and not taxed at all. I mean, instead of only making 400, 500, 600, maybe 1,000 from OT, you would get the full amount.
Right. No, I hear you.
Depends on how much OT you work.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Listen, I'm all for getting rid of the overtime tax. I mean, there are obviously some complications to that, but none of which I'm, no, I want to get rid of that tax, obviously. So again, let's say you do get rid of that overtime tax. You have a couple dollars, not a couple dollars, you have a couple $100s put back into your pocket.
You might have a few thousand just depending on how much. I mean, put it this way. The lineman.
Right. But here's the thing. Donald Trump simultaneously, and we'll talk about his 2017 policy as well, because this is a cover-up now. You get the overtime tax. Donald Trump simultaneously wants to put a 60% tariff on China and a 10% tariff across the country, across all other countries. That leads to a $3 trillion tax hike on the middle class and an additional $2,500 to $3,900 coming out of their pockets every single year through rising costs. And this isn't a hypothetical, because we saw this back in 2017 when he initiated his Jobs and Tax Act. It's the same thing. He wants to benefit corporations, so he tosses us a bone, and then we see more money in our paycheck, so we think we're getting more. We don't notice the money we're spending out of pocket to make up for the rising costs. In 2017, he passed his Jobs and Tax Act. He gave middle-class Americans a 1% to 2% tax cut. 2% if we were good boys and girls that year, but most of us got 1%. If you were in a 25% tax bracket, he pushed you into the 24%. Corporations got a 14% corporate tax deduction. So we thought we had more money in our pockets because we saw it in our pay stub, but simultaneously Donald Trump added the 14% deduction to corporations like Walgreens. That led to the $8 trillion deficit, and we pay that off, not corporations. And two, it led to a $230 billion tax hike on the middle class through rising costs because of his tariffs. He put a 25% tariff on agriculture at the same time of that 1%. So we got a 1% tax increase, 1% tax cut, 25% tariff on agriculture. So farmers passed off rising costs to middle-class consumers to make up the difference because they lost China as an export market and had a surplus in supply and demand issue. So Donald Trump says, I'm going to cut your taxes. Yes, he will. But then he's going to raise your costs. And this is what we see time and again. You mentioned rising costs. So let's talk about that as well, if you want to kick that off.
I mean, we can kick it off if you like. I mean,
sure.
It don't matter to me. I just know my paychecks were better. Obviously, the cost of living was down, so I was able to save more.
Well, so let's talk about the rise in costs here. Okay, so what is, and it's okay if you don't know this, you're not an economist, you're not you don't have to. But if I were to ask you, what is the inflation rate? What would you say? What is the inflation rate today?
Last time I even checked, it was 5 or 6. I don't ever really check that. I work all the time. So
no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, again, you don't have to. I was just curious, what kind of number would pop into your head. So today the inflation rate is 2.5%. And that is the same thing it was in 2018. Well, actually not exactly. It's 2.5% today. It was 0.01% less in 2018, but that's identical. So I want to recognize here, while inflation is down, and that means that the Biden-Harris administration did their part, rising costs are still high at double-digit margins. Why might that be? Why do you think that might be?
Probably because they didn't really say what they were going to do.
No, it's because of corporations. So if inflation is down,
yeah.
Well, so let me explain. So if inflation is down and on par with 2018, corporations have kept their costs high purposefully to make a larger profit. Now look at PepsiCo. PepsiCo was making record high profits before their tax deduction, before the pandemic, but they increased after the after the tax deduction, after the pandemic, they increased their cost on Gatorade and shrunk the size of it. And that's why you hear things like greedflation and shrinkflation. And that's just one specific product. Go look at Kroger. Kroger is currently getting investigated because 1 month ago, their CEO admitted that they increased costs when inflation was coming down to scam the middle class. And they're going to be held legally liable for that, and they will be fined, and there will be criminal action against them. They're currently getting investigated. If you haven't heard about that, they're the first of many investigations. Now, Kamala recognizes this, and she has a plan to ban that practice. So companies have to put their product on par with inflation. And now MAGA Republicans, in response to this, say something like, well, that's gonna flood the market. I mean, the market's gonna crash. Where's the profit gonna go? No, because before they price gouge, they already had record high profits. They're gonna still have record high profits. It's just gonna be cheaper for the middle class. They'll still make their money. And if they can't afford to be a business without scamming the middle class through price gouging, then they probably shouldn't be a business. Donald Trump has no plan to combat price gouging. And that's a difference between the two.
I mean, everyone can say they have a plan or don't say. You just don't know until they take action on that, though.
Sure, but I trust Kamala to take action because she's proven she would in the past, right? She's the one who put the bill on the floor to build the wall, and Donald Trump stopped it.
I mean, if they took action, you think, a lot of this wouldn't even be happening right now.
Well, no, because who's in your Congress? Who's the same person stopping money from going to North Carolina right now for political purposes? It's Mike Johnson. Because when people are angry,
main source.
No, he is. He is. He slaps the gavel, calls a special session. People have to vote for that funding. He's scared to do that right now and doesn't want to until after the election because he's worried that by spending money on those impacted by the hurricane, that might hurt his chances at staying as speaker. But he is the wallet. Nobody gets more money until he gives them the money. He's the wallet. And he's doing it for political purposes. But
she did political purposes for, the Hurricane Milton. The governor said it himself.
What'd he say?
I'd have to replay the video, so I'd have to close out the live.
Well, I'm curious what you're referring to. What happened here?
Well, the governor of Florida.
Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis rejected phone calls and support
No,
from
he
Kamala.
said he would actually accept the phone call.
That's after he got called out on Stephen Colbert.
No,
Except he
asked,
first,
and
I
he
hear
said
you.
he would accept the phone call.
I hear you. First he said, maybe he did say he would now. I don't know what happened this morning. But as of last night, national news, he refused to take any calls or support from Kamala. That is political. He didn't want to be seen with her. When Joe Biden visited Florida, he didn't want to be seen with Joe Biden either. That was political. That was Ron DeSantis choosing politics over helping his own people. And again, maybe today he's saying something different. I would too, after the clapdown he got from everybody, including MAGA Republicans, because that was inappropriate. But so you're still picking a felon here,
He's been in talk with FEMA and the president. So why would he not accept the call from her? I mean, that just wouldn't make sense.
That's the question. Exactly. Hold on, wait.
He said, she said.
What you just said. That's the question. Why wouldn't he take the call from her? It's because she's a presidential candidate.
And he said,
and he doesn't want to be seen with her.
She is doing it for political reasons.
Right. That's what he's saying after he already got called out for politically refusing to take her calls and refusing her support. He got called out. Then if you're saying that's what he's saying now, okay, I can see why he would do that now, because he got slapped down on social media, in the press, on interviews. Anyhow, so again, you're choosing a felon here, right? You're choosing a liable sexual abuser, civil fraudster who's in debt by $488 million. Somebody who, let's be real, was not a good businessman, right? Trump University, Trump steak, Trump water, Trump vodka. Trump airline literally crashed. Trump Truth Social right now, stocks are crashing. Trump casino. How do you bankrupt a casino? The whole point is to take money from people. Like, how did you mess that up? How did you mess that up? So you're voting for this instead of somebody who you may not agree with on every policy, but at least you can trust isn't going to rip you off.
I mean, well, we trusted her as VP and she said she had majority when they were discussing, big changes. She was there and she had input. Those changes and those policies that they said they were going to do never really came to light, let alone it affected majority of the middle class working. Policies? We can agree to disagree. Everyone has their own.
It's not an agree to disagree because, for example, the Inflation Reduction Act, Chips and Science Act,
but
infrastructure
this
package,
whole thing between,
American Rescue Plan.
Between her and Trump is agreed to disagree, though.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, because you're going on policies that she is not going to act on.
All right, we ain't got to raise our voice. We ain't got to raise our voice. So again,
I'm not raising my voice. I'm talking very calmly.
So we look at the American Rescue Plan, Chips and Science Act, infrastructure package. These are packages that benefited middle-class Americans, created thousands of jobs, supported new energy economies while uplifting the oil industry. No matter how many times MAGA Republicans try to claim that, they were worse on oil. We're drilling more today than we were under Donald Trump, and that's just the fact. We can look at this from an economic standpoint. People are doing well in the economy. Not everybody, but people are doing better than they were 4 years ago. And let's also recognize as well, when we look at Kamala, again, you're saying that she accomplished what she said she was going to accomplish. I say that's squash. I think that is blatant projection. Kamala Harris said she was going to give us an infrastructure package. She did. Kamala Harris said she was going to give us the Respect for Marriage Act. She did. Kamala Harris said she was going to give us the Inflation Reduction Act. She did. One more. She said she was going to give us a border package. She did. And Donald Trump stopped it. Donald Trump said he was going to build the wall. He did not. Donald Trump said Mexico was going to pay for it. They did not. Donald Trump said he was going to replace the ACA with a healthcare plan. He did not. It's been a decade. Still no plan. Donald Trump said he was going to show us his taxes after audit. They're still under audit. Who here accomplished what they said they were going to? Who here didn't?
Well, I will say Trump actually accomplished a lot of what he said when he was president.
Like what?
Like what? The border was dealt with. Some probably what he was saying didn't all happen, but it was affected in a positive way.
Tell me a policy. Tell me a policy.
It doesn't matter about policy. It matters about action. That's the whole thing of the president of the United
Policy
States.
is about action.
Policies don't matter if you don't take action in the policies.
Correct. Policy and action are the same thing. So call it what you want. Name the policy.
I mean, that's all you guys really go about is just policies, man.
That's what most voters go by.
I mean, actions speak louder than words.
Yes,
I mean,
but you
obviously
can't,
you have your reasonings for voting
my
for
guest, here's the thing. You can't take action without policy. Okay. And so if you don't know his policy, and you clearly don't, and I'm not trying to insult you here. Again, you're not a legislator. You don't have to. But if you're going to come onto a platform like this, talk to somebody like me and mention something like the border, you ought to know his policy. If you don't, then that speaks volumes to how weak of a border he had. If it was nothing that impacted your memory, nothing that said, oh, I'm going to remember this.
But it's statistically proven that when they were in office that they had doubled the numbers than he did.
But again, and there's reasons why numbers went up, right? For example, Donald Trump was in a pandemic. Who's crossing the border during a pandemic? We weren't exactly doing that well in America. I wouldn't want to come here either. Millions of people were losing their lives. I mean, I myself was impacted by the pandemic. I have to carry an inhaler, drink tea 24/7. I have my humidifier because I have lung damage from the pandemic. I don't think people were running here, right? Everything was closed. The economy was closed itself. There weren't jobs here for them. People didn't have jobs at the time because people were unemployed. That's the pandemic. Economy reopens. Everything's back to the way it was. Yeah, people start crossing again. That's not unusual. But there are today less border crossings than there were under Donald Trump. And I recognize the first couple years under Kamala and Joe, again, yes, economy was reopened. There are going to be more crossings. People can now get jobs again. People are on the road again. It was higher. And then they got it under control because that's what they do. They work.
This is just, it's funny. I mean, I see you're going off of the policies that she stated and that she is going to, or saying she would act on. But at the same time, I mean, it's just going to be he said, she said until the end of the day.
No, let's think about it.
No, I mean, there's nothing to think about.
No, there is. You're getting nervous. Listen, there's no reason.
More fit? That's your right?
No. Calm down. I get you're leaning towards leaving real quick and you want to get out of this conversation because in a sense you got cooked here.
I don't
with
really
a smile on my face.
It don't really matter to me.
But I think what's important here is
you want to vote for her that she's not going to do anything.
Guess, hold on. Well, let me break this down. So again, I've gone off.
I'm not a policy guru, dude.
You're not. I know.
A union class worker that busts his ass off. I'm going to take the guy that's actually going to put money in my pocket where I can afford a home.
Take a step back. You don't know how he's going to put money into your pocket, and Kamala's quite literally saying she has a policy. I need you to chill. So again, you're saying he's going to put more money into your pocket, and I broke down exactly how he took money out of your pocket and how he would again. If you didn't listen, that's on you. But I did break this down and debunk that. Kamala has a policy that will quite literally help you afford a home if you didn't listen. Again, I broke this down. That's on you. But I want to make clear here, Kamala not only has the record and the policy, but she also has the character. Donald Trump has none of that. No policy, no record, no character. You gonna run away now? We got a runner. He got slapped down. Let's get some cow emojis in the chat. He got slapped down. And I did that with a smile on my face. I wasn't even rude. I was nice. I was a nice guy. Like y'all have seen me get rude. I was very nice. He was choosing to be ignorant. That was his choice. He chose ignorance. That's on him. That is on him. Sometimes you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Sharon, thank you. Sharon and Jen, thank you so much for the Venmo. I appreciate that. Hi, guest. Are you voting for the felon? Hello? Are we watching TV with you?
No.
Can you turn off your TV?
No. I support Kamala.
Well, thank you for coming up. Have a good one, okay? Folks, let's get up our next guest. If you are voting for Donald Trump, jump on into the guest request and let's have a chat. Don't be shy. Elizabeth, thank you so much for the cash app. I appreciate it. Let's get up our next guest. If you haven't already, folks, please make sure that you're liking the live. Help us get to 300,000 likes. If you do want to support me, Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App are in the bio. Steven, are you driving right now?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to let you go. I don't know why MAGA Republicans are so intent on committing crimes. Get off your phone when you're driving. Okay? Do we have any mods on, by the way? Where's our mods at? Do we have any mods? Mods, are you here? Hi, guest. Are you voting for the felon? Oh, ran away. That's okay. I wouldn't want to talk to me either, honestly. It's fine. I'm a little scary. I get it. I get it. I get it. Cherry City, hello. Oh, wonderful. We got a mod on.
Hello.
Hello. Just one moment. Christy, I see that you want a mod. I'm going to get you up as a mod here right now. I'm going to give you the power to mute. Feel free to mute anybody who's overstepping in the comments. Let's keep the comments clean. We want to keep the comments as a safe space. Michael, hi. Are you voting for the criminal?
I am, but I'm more leaning towards her, Kamala, the more I listen to your podcast. But I have one question I wanted to ask.
Sure, go for it.
I wanted to more on that $25,000 first-time buyer program. I've looked at it. If your parents have bought a home, for what I understand, and I could be wrong, you're not eligible for the $25,000. Is that true or not?
No, you are eligible. And this is something that I've reviewed, and I'm going to continue reviewing to ensure I'm not missing something. But I've spent a lot of time on it, and I've spoken to a lot of people in the industry. From what I understand is first-time home buyers, you are eligible. And there's misinformation surrounding this. And that is my understanding, that there was some misinformation that caught on and became a little trend.
Okay. And I was listening a couple days ago, someone was talking to you about the Teamsters. I went on their website, and the Teamsters.org says they're not doing either one. Not that they're going for him or her.
Yeah.
But you had said that they were backing her.
Yeah. So basically, the national titled Teamsters will not endorse. And there are political reasons for that, political reasons behind leadership for that, who maybe don't want to listen to the union members, and that's fine. But on the statewide level, the locals like Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Teamsters are choosing to endorse. So for example, I think one local, don't quote me on this, I don't know that this is the accurate local, I think it was like Iowa, Wisconsin, maybe Illinois, it was like a few states did endorse her. Then again, in Michigan, the states are doing it themselves because national has failed them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been watching your videos for, probably about 2 weeks now, and listening to both sides, and some of the MAGAs make me not want to be Republican.
Well, I think the thing here is, and again, take it from me, I voted for Democrats, I voted for Republicans. As you hear the MAGA Republicans, they're not normal.
I voted for, a lot of them aren't. No, I will agree on that. When I voted for Obama his first term, I didn't his second term. That's why it's like I go either or. But that's all I wanted to ask on questions. I know I could have messaged you, but I'm not very iPhone friendly.
Totally okay. I appreciate you coming up. Sorry, pardon the cough. I appreciate you coming up, and I do hope that you choose to vote for her. I think that she'll actually fight for you, and Donald Trump is just, you've been watching this for 2 weeks. You get it. Anyhow, thanks again for coming up, Michael. Have a good one. All right, folks, let's get up our next guest. If you are voting for Donald Trump, jump on into the guest request and let's have a chat. If you want to support me, I greatly appreciate it. It all goes towards my college fund. Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App are in the bio. And if you haven't already, please do hit that follow button in the top left corner and join our little family. I'd be very happy to have you as part of our team. Trying to get up our next guest. Let's see if we can do it. The water is much nicer, I will say, with the Democrats. The water is much nicer. I think we have better water. We really do. For one, look at Gretchen Whitmer, right? Under a Democrat, the water doesn't have, the water in Flint, Michigan's a lot better than it was under Donald Trump. I think we got better water. Hi, guest. Are you voting for the felon? Hello? Okay. Next, I see we got a law raid. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Glad to have you here. Let's try to get up our next guest. Raymond, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the Cash App, Raymond. Let's try to get up our next guest. Folks, if you are voting for Donald Trump, join the guest request. Let's have a chat. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Very nice guy. Hold on, wait. I can do one better. Don't be shy. I'm a very nice guy. Oh my gosh, I ain't even put on the wig yet. Hello, guest. Jackie, how you doing?
Good.
Are you voting for the felon?
Fuck no. No.
Nice. Thank you for coming up.
Yep.
Let's get up our next guest. Folks, if you are voting for Donald Trump, join the guest request. Let's have a chat, okay? Don't be shy. Come on up. Come on up. Let's have a conversation. Hello, guest. Are you voting for the criminal?
No, I just wanted to say why this is the third time I've been muted. I'm a friendly. I haven't said anything bad. Please unmute me.
Yep, absolutely. Mods, would you please unmute this guest? And also, mods, let's be extra careful in the chat, please, and thank you. I appreciate it for coming up. Basically, sometimes when we get a lot of MAGA Republicans saying some crazies in the chat, unfortunately, some friendlies do get unmuted in the mix. Thank you, King T. I appreciate it. And thank you, Tri-City. Tommy, hello. Are you voting for the criminal?
Hell yeah, I'm voting for the criminal. Now, I'm voting for the criminal solely based on policy. I want to know what you vote based on. Do you vote based on policy or do you vote based on character?
When were you born?
Why is that? I'm 2004.
That's very relevant. And how old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay. Got to make sure you're not a fetus because it's a little tough when we have fetuses come up here and they try to talk about abortion.
I get that.
Anyhow, so I vote based off of character and policy. I look at Kamala Harris. Both. I was raised on the premise that, well, no, because I was raised on a different premise. I was raised on the stance that you may agree with somebody on everything, but you have to consider their character. If they're a terrible person, reconsider that vote. If you may disagree with them on most things and yet they have a beautiful character, and this has happened to me in the past, then consider voting for them because at least you know that they have your interests at heart, even if you disagree how it's going to happen. That is how I was raised. So I voted for both sides of the aisle, but never would I vote for Donald Trump because this is not a Republican. This is far past that. We're talking anti-freedom, tiptoeing fascism at this point. But now you tell me, because you asked me a question. Well, hold on. You asked me a question. My turn. So why are you voting for the felon? And if it is because of a policy, then break that down for me. I need the ingredients on this.
I vote based mainly on policy because the thing is you can have someone that's been slandered by the media over and over that a lot of people think is a really bad guy when in all seriousness their record shows that they're pretty damn good. Now, I voted for Trump. Or no, I didn't vote for Trump. I'm going to vote for Trump solely because of his policy. He beats Kamala on the economy. He beats Kamala on the border. He beats Kamala on foreign policy. The only thing that Kamala somewhat wins is really just abortion, and that's really only with women that support abortion.
I'm a guy, and I support women's rights and abortion. 100%. So let's not say it's just women. I do want to question you on a couple things here. Well, because again, you're giving off general points, and I want to break this down so that other folks can understand it better. You talk about the economy and the border. What does Donald Trump want to do for the border?
So for the border, we're going to re-put in everything that he put in place in his first 4 years, which helped with the border. Because as you should know, on Biden's first day,
hold on, wait, stop. But you're using generic talking points again. What are those policies you're going to put into place? I need specifics. You're not naming policies.
Stay in Mexico is one of his better policies. Stay in Mexico.
Stay in Mexico is not the name of a policy he passed.
It's okay. Do you really want me to get super specific on the super scientific name of the policy?
I would.
Or are you gonna accept the fact that
I would like
Mexico is the name of his policy?
Yes, out of respect. Yes, I would like to use accurate information when we're talking in front of this large of a crowd. Hold on. Take a step back. Take a step back. I don't need you to Google it because I'm not looking for a conversation with ChatGPT. If you don't know the name of the policy, that speaks volumes to how unmemorable it was. Now, let's also recognize the specific policy you are talking about. I do recall, and there were humanitarian concerns with it surrounding asylum and other issues. Donald Trump's not going to put that into place because there were too many issues with it.
Well, Mexico
Now-
is a great policy.
Hold on. I want to also recognize there were less border crossings today than there were under Donald Trump. But how will Donald Trump take action to further secure the border? Tell me what his policy is.
Brother, you is tripping about the less border crossings. When it comes to border crossings,
No,
overall,
I'm not.
for all 4 years,
Tommy,
for all 4 years,
Tommy,
illegal
stop.
border crossings.
Tommy,
illegal.
Tommy,
Can I answer or
Tommy, no, you can twist the stats however you want, but I want to be very clear. My live stream's not going to be used for misinformation. What I need you to do is answer the question, break down what Donald Trump wants to do to secure the border.
Here, let me clarify what you're telling me. Are you saying border crossings as in illegal,
What?
or border crossings as in all border crossings?
Tommy, what I'm telling you is...
It's a simple
we're not-
question.
No, Tommy.
Border crossings, or are
here's
we
my
including
thing.
illegal
Here's my
border
thing.
crossings? Yes
Here's
or
my
no?
thing. Do you see how kind I am being?
It's a simple question, though.
No,
Is it
right. You're testing me. And if you want me to become a little sassy or not so nice, because maybe this is your first time tuning into this live stream,
Yes.
I can be and will be, but I'm being so respectful, and this is not normally how I am. And the chat can attest to that. Chat, is that an accurate statement? So I'm going to ask you again. When I ask you a question, respond. Okay? And don't turn around and disrespect me by asking me a question and ignoring the words I just said. You don't do that again, okay?
Trying to
So again,
clarify your
break down the
words, and then
policy.
I can give an
Look at the
answer.
chat. They know how I get. So I'm asking you again, break down the policy here for me. What does Donald Trump want to accomplish to secure the border further?
So are you gonna forget the fact that we'd already moved on?
Tommy, I'm gonna.
Like,
This
you
is your
continue
Tommy.
around
This is your last warning. I asked you this question. You were trying to pivot and harp on something else. Be very careful,
Okay.
Tommy. Be very careful with the next words you pick. Tell me again what the policy is that Donald Trump wants to implement to further secure the border. And if you've taken time and this is you stalling to Google it or something, fine. But like, at least just be honest, right? If you don't know, say it. It's not something to be ashamed of.
First of all, the wall. The wall, granted, a lot of people say, oh my God, guys, the wall is not going to do anything. Granted. Yeah, it's not going to do a lot, but it will do enough to stop illegal drugs from coming across the parts of the border that aren't protected, right? I feel like that's a very true statement. And then I don't even feel like it's a true statement. It is a true statement.
Okay, all right.
A border
What
wall
else?
will stop illegal drugs from coming across parts that are unprotected, right? And then
Okay.
we get to Stay in Mexico. Stay in Mexico is a nickname for a policy, okay? A nickname
Stop
for
it.
a
It's not a
policy.
nickname. If I tell you, because again, you're telling me he's going to re-implement what he used to do. Well, hear me on this. You're saying that he's
answer
going
my own question,
hear me
brother.
on this. Well, because you're not answering it. You're saying he's going to re-implement what he once held. He can't. One, because there were humanitarian and legal issues with it. Two, that's why he's not running on re-implementing them. He has a separate policy and you're not talking about it because you don't know, and that's okay. If I tell you his policy, will you honestly answer what you do and don't support? And then we'll do the same for Kamala.
Tell me
okay?
his current policy. Tell me his current policy.
If you disagree with one of these, you need to tell me so then we
Alright.
can further talk about it. I have
100%.
concerns surrounding his policy because I don't know where he's going to get much of the money from, and I'll explain those concerns as we go. First off, so the wall. Donald Trump wants to build the wall. He didn't negotiate the wall the first time. I don't trust he would do it. Do you support the wall, though?
100%.
Okay. Donald Trump wants to put well over 1,000 soldiers on the wall to man or woman the border. My issue here is I don't know where he's going to get the money for these salaries. I know you don't either. Congress will figure that out if he's president. Would you support putting those border agents there?
100%.
Okay. Sorry. That's on me. I went to ask you again where the money was going to come from. That's not.
I can kind of give
No, it's
context
fine.
of the
It's
plan
fine.
to where the money will come from, but
No, it's fine. It's fine. That's not for you or I to figure out. He's going to have to figure that out, or Congress or whatever. Donald Trump. So, you know, when you fill a soda bottle, this I understand. Now, this I get and I like because it doesn't cost money. This I like. He's saying if you overfill a soda bottle, it's the same thing as flooding the border. You can only fit so many people. So he's saying he's going to limit how many people can cross per day.
oh yeah,
Legally. To be clear, there's no illegal. He's saying we will limit how many legally cross a day.
true.
This I get. And it doesn't cost money, so I vibe with it. Do you
100%.
support this, though?
1,000,000%.
Okay. That is a bipartisan one. I like that one. I like that. I will give him credit where credit's due. What was it? On asylum. Now, if I word this wrong, let me know. This isn't
right.
a trick question or something. But I always screw this one up. So for asylum seekers, there's a legal process.
Yes.
If somebody comes here illegally and they say, they like cross our border and they say, I'm seeking asylum, he's going to turn them around and they cannot come back for a few years.
Right.
So he's barring them from seeking asylum. My issue here is we don't know where they're coming from. So maybe they crossed illegally for a reason, but I guess that's a personal issue, right? It's not really.
Right. Now, I can explain part of that, because a lot of the people that come and seek asylum are from countries that don't have asylum orders. They can't seek asylum because they're not seeking asylum from anything. For example, we have people that cross from Bangladesh or from Pakistan or from India, where there's not really anything going on compared to Haitian migrants, right? Where their country is in complete shambles, right?
No, I hear you.
Where they rip apart their papers and then they turn themselves in because they're not going to get sent back to Mexico. They're not going to get sent back to the country that they crossed the border from, and they're stuck in America. They can't leave America because we can't send them back to the country that they came from.
No, it makes sense. I can see again why you would support this. I can see why Donald Trump wants to implement it. I have questions about it. We'll talk about them afterwards. But so then you do support blocking the illegal asylum seekers.
1,000,000%.
Okay. Again, I get it. I still have questions, and it's fine if you don't have answers. You're not a legislator. Like, you don't have to have the answers.
I can answer. With
Well,
border
the last, because we're almost done. And then we're going to move
Yeah.
into Kamala's. So last policy. So Donald Trump wants to funnel. I have an issue here. We'll talk about it after. Donald Trump wants to give, we're talking millions of dollars to border states so that they could further secure the border. He says it's states' rights, that you're going to give them more money to secure the border how they see fit. I want to know where the money's coming from. I get you won't have an answer to that. We could talk about that after. That's for Congress to figure out. Do you support funding the border states?
100%. As someone that lives in a border state, I live in Texas. Just recently in my city, Tren de Aragua took over apartment complexes, and we had to have an operation with HSI, FBI, a bunch of different agencies to get them out of the apartment that they had taken over. The whole thing that happened in Aurora, it happened in San Antonio, Texas, like last week. And
No,
they
you're
had
making a good
control
case.
of it.
I hear you. I hear you. So let's talk about Kamala's. First, I want to confirm.
Yeah.
So the wall, the border agents, the cap, asylum blocking, not asylum blocking, illegal asylum blocking. To be clear,
Yes.
he's not, and then funding the border states. So you agree with these points?
Yes.
Okay. And then you also understand my thoughts on these.
Right.
Okay. So then we'll talk about Kamala's. You ready?
Well, now then again, I feel like there's something that we should mention when it comes to Kamala's border policies, right? And the same thing with Trump's border policies.
Well, I want to be clear. We're about to talk about Kamala's border policy.
I'll get into this after.
Yeah.
I'll get into this after.
Yeah.
Read me all the things.
No, 100%.
Can I tell the chat something real quick?
Yeah, just a sec.
It's-
That was Kamala's policy. That wasn't Donald Trump's policy. You got tricked. That was Kamala Harris's policy, and you just endorsed it.
Kamala
Because-
supports the wall?
Kamala supports the wall. Kamala supports the border agents. Kamala supports the cap on immigration.
No.
The
Her
illegal
border
asylum
agents
block.
bill-
Hold on, I want to make a point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Now, again, you got tricked. She supports all of these things. This is on her website as we speak. These are her policies. Not only that, this is also part of the border package she first negotiated that Donald Trump blocked. So you're saying you support, well, hold on. You're saying you support these. So not only do you endorse and support Kamala's policy, and I triple confirmed with you to ensure you did. So not only do you support her border policy, you simultaneously should be denouncing Donald Trump for stopping the border package that would have accomplished all of this.
Wouldn't get right into that.
You even gave reasons as to why these would be good policies.
Right.
You spoke about personal experiences. You spoke about the dollars allocated. Here's your pre-warning. Well, here's your pre-warning, Tommy.
It's all right.
If you backtrack on this, if you claim as though you can't agree with these because you don't think she's going to do something or blah, 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 she already had the border deal. It was going to pass until Donald Trump stepped in. Be very careful with what you choose here. You just endorsed Kamala's
will not
policy
backtrack.
instead of Donald Trump's. Okay, go
I
ahead.
will not backtrack, my friend. I will not backtrack. Trust me. So the thing is honestly, that's way better than I expected from that lady. Because the thing is, she hadn't released that for the longest time. Now, when it comes to that border bill that she blocked, did you look into what else was in the border bill? There was
the foreign
a
aid.
lot more funding for foreign
aid.
countries than for the border. That's not a
Yes.
border bill. That is a foreign aid bill with
Did you?
some border stuff in it. Now the same thing happens.
Wait.
with
No,
climate
don't.
change bills.
You want to forget. there were more than one draft of that bill. So they actually separated the border bill from the foreign aid. They still, because of Donald Trump, refused to pass the border bill, but Republicans did pass the foreign aid. So Republicans passed the foreign aid, but they didn't pass the border bill when they were originally going to because of Donald Trump. That's a problem. That's politics.
Shit. I gotta lie. I'm stumped. You stumped me there. You did stump me there.
Listen, it shouldn't even stump you. It's just the fact that MAGA Republicans in Congress, and not all of them, I'm talking about the Marjorie Taylor Greens, turn their back.
Right.
I mean, Mitch McConnell, Senator Tillis, they, who I disagree with on almost everything and would never vote for them, even they denounced Donald Trump for this because it was politics. Donald Trump can't close the border in its entirety under Joe Biden. Otherwise, how could he run on the border if... Think about it. The conversation we're having about the border would be redundant right now if the border was secured in its entirety. And so I think, again, I think take some time, do a deep dive into Kamala. You agree with this policy. Just review her website, look into an interview or two of hers. I think she's your candidate.
Now, here's the thing. I don't want this to be like a segue to me getting kicked off the line. There's still more I want to talk about, especially with the immigration thing.
I hear you. However, I hear you, and I get that. And we can have another conversation another day. But I think hold on. I think what you need to do right now is take some time, because you just, I easily tricked you, my guy. You agreed to everything in Kamala's policy, everything in the border policy. You even fought for it. You're ready to make justification to me as to why it's good. Kamala's your candidate. I can understand that now. I grew up in an area like yours. I grew up in a rural conservative area that affected my ideology. I think you need to do more research into her, and I think you will like her as a candidate. Donald Trump, do more research into him as well. Learn what his policies are. Come back in a couple days. We can have a deeper conversation, but I'm curious what your actual perspective is when you do the research, because you should have known. No, because you should have known. You should have known the border package.
You have 2 minutes.
So again, nope. Come back in a couple days.
Don't kick me.
Come back in a couple days. Come back in a couple days. I wrote down your username. I wrote down your username. Come back in a couple days. Come back in a couple days. Okay? You agreed to everything in Kamala Harris's border package. You can't make a case that you disagree with her after doing that. And that's part of the thing here, Again, I think it's a matter of not having enough information on your behalf. Do the research. I think she actually is your candidate. Come back in a few days. You got to do some reading. Got to do some reading. Come back in a few days. You got to do some reading. You have quite an echo. Let's move on to the next. Folks, if you are voting for Donald Trump, jump on into the... Let me get out the spiel. Folks, if you are voting for Donald Trump, jump on into the guest request and let's have a chat. If you haven't already, hit that like button and help us get to 400,000 likes. If you do want to support me, everything goes towards my college fund, and I greatly appreciate it because college is expensive. So Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App are in the bio. That being said, if you missed what just happened, the guest who was just on, we had a conversation. I told him about Donald Trump's border policy, and he agreed to everything. Yeah, can you hold on a second? Not everything's about you, Aiden. So he agreed to everything in the border policy, and then I explained he was tricked. That was actually Kamala's border policy, and he agreed to everything. Anyhow, Aiden, why are you voting for the criminal?
Okay, no.
Okay, you got a bar. You got like one bar of service, so I got to let you go. All right, let's get it for next guest. Folks, if you are voting for Donald Trump, join the guest request. Let's have a chat, okay? Whoop, I'm dropping things. We do impersonations here, too. If you all are interested, we got a wig. Let's try to get up our next guest. Also got tiny little hands. I got the Trump wig in my hands. We do conversations here in America. If you believe in China and Russia and you think that Donald Trump would be stronger for China and Russia, join the guest request and let's have a chat. Trying to get up for next guest. Hi, guest. Are you voting for Donald Trump?
I am.
Gotcha. And why are you supporting the felon? Do you support crime? Do you hate police? Do you want to defund them? What is it?
I don't hate police. I don't agree with a lot of police decisions, but...
Are you a felon yourself?
No.
So then why do you want to vote for a felon?
What does being a felon have anything to do with being a president.
Let's be honest, it's kind of worth asking, right? I mean, you're voting for a felon, the guy who committed
violent
sexual
offender?
abuse, the civil fraud. Oh, I think sexual abuse is pretty violent. But so he's a
catch a
sexual
felony for
abuser, civil fraudster.
Did he catch a felony for
So he
sexual
got
abuse?
felonies for lots of things, but he was also found liable of sexual abuse, and that's
But
violent.
did he catch a felony for it?
Are you trying to separate the two? I mean,
I mean,
I don't think that's saying. Hold on. I don't think. Guess respectfully. I don't think that's saying. Oh, well, he. Hold on. I don't think that you saying, well, he didn't get a felony for committing sexual abuse, isn't helping your case. So again, you're voting for the felon, sexual abuser, civil fraudster
That's what I
because.
said. I just
No, that
asked
is.
you if he
That's what
caught
you
a
said.
felony for it.
Okay, so anyway, yeah, so you just repeated it. Again, you're essentially saying, well, he didn't catch a felony for committing sexual abuse, so nah. And it's
liable.
like, that's not a good look. That's not a good
Found
look.
liable.
Yeah. What does liable
Okay.
mean? What does liable mean?
It's another way of saying you're guilty.
Exactly. The only difference is it's civil versus criminal court, and they have specific terms. Now, that being said,
Right,
my
one
statement
jail time, one
stands.
time.
He is, excuse me, he is a felon, sexual abuser, civil fraudster. It was $488 million and change, give or take a couple million, to the state of New York. I should know because I'm the guy who programmed the website that tracks his debt. So again, tell me, why are you voting for that criminal instead of the prosecutor? Why are you voting for Donald Trump? What did Donald Trump do?
He answers a question. He doesn't have his interviews.
Sir, that doesn't work. Kamala Harris just did 60 Minutes, and Donald Trump refused to meet with the folks at 60 Minutes. He was called out nationally for this. 60 Minutes would have been the largest audience he could have spoken in front of. It would have been the largest interview he has done to this point, and that's why he didn't want to do it, because he's
Why
scared
was
to talk.
Kamala's interview edited?
That's normally how they do it. You know, they
I'm
they
saying
put
edited
everything in it.
into her favor.
Excuse me. No, stop that. Stop that. That's your personal opinion, but more often than not, I mean, you MAGA Republicans last night were claiming she failed that interview and it was awful. Now this morning, because you hold on, but you can't say both. You can't say it was edited in her favor and that she failed it. If it was edited in her favor, then she'd look good, right? If she failed it, then clearly it wasn't edited in her favor. This is where you MAGA Republicans can't even get your story straight. So tell me again. Thank you for the swan guess. Thank you, Uncle. I appreciate that. So tell me again. Well, hold on. Hold on. Your hypocrisy. Your hypocrisy is showing. Your hypocrisy is showing. You can't have both ways. So again, you're voting for a felon. Why? Talk about policy. Talk about character.
How's she going to pay for those policies?
Okay.
Please explain to me what
Right.
her answer was.
So I'm being very nice.
Besides saying the rich
All
have
right.
to pay a
Hey,
fair shake,
can you
they pay
recognize
a
I'm
pretty
being
good opinion.
all right? I'm being very nice. Am I not?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I asked you a question. I've answered numerous of your questions already. I'm asking you one question and you just won't respond. There is a long list of guests. I'm going to ask you one more time. If you don't answer, I have to move on. One more
I'm voting
time.
for Trump because he's a better candidate to run this country.
Okay, respectfully, that's like me saying, what's your favorite kind of food? And you saying, the edible kind. I need you to give me
that
some
an answer?
ingredients.
Was that an answer?
No,
You asked
that
for
was
an
not an
answer.
answer. Right,
asked
that's
me
not
for
saying
more.
he's the better candidate means you're ignorant and you know nothing. One more time, I'm going to ask you, why are you voting for Donald Trump? And you're going to respond with either a policy, a characteristic, a background, a record. Don't just say, I like him because he tickles my whatever. Okay, one more time. Why are you voting for the
Border was
criminal?
maintained.
All right, now break down the border.
Yes.
Break it down.
Why did the border ever get to an extent that it did when it was under control when Biden and Harris came into?
Sure. Do you remember the pandemic?
I get a pandemic, but still there was policies in place that Biden took away.
Nope. So take a step back. So let's recognize one, some of the policies that Donald Trump implemented had legal issues, also humanitarian
Biden
issues.
issue an
I'm not done.
executive
Pardon
order
me.
the fourth
Do you
year.
want to listen? Do you want me to respond, or do you want to talk over me? Because talk over me one more time, you're getting kicked. I'm done playing with you. You're really testing my patience, and I'm really choosing to be kind today. You normally people wouldn't even go this far by cutting me off. Okay, I'm not playing back, so I'm going to try this one more time, and the chat can attest. I'm not this nice. So one more time, Donald Trump had issues both legality wise and humanitarian wise in his policy. That is the fact. And so if some of those were removed, rightfully so. Now, I also want to make clear here as well, there are less border crossings today than there were under Donald Trump. And y'all can try to twist that stat however you want. It's an easy fact check. Furthermore, And
That's
let's
what you do.
congratulate the Biden-Harris administration for that, because they came into a situation where the economy was now reopening, and that's a good thing. However, that leads to more crossings, where the pandemic was diminishing, and that leads to more crossings. So crossings would go up, rightfully so. And then they took action to cut back on them, and rightfully so. This is life. This is just how it is. Now, my question to you is, you want to discuss the border, and I agree. Do you know Donald Trump's border policy?
No.
Okay. How long have you been on this live for?
I just heard you talk to the other dude. Like, I'm not going to sit there and guess.
Right.
Oh, that's Kamala's policy.
Right.
You
Here's
agree
the
with
thing,
Kamala.
though. Here's the thing. The conversation we're having about that border situation as we speak would be redundant, because Kamala already put forth a policy and a package in a bipartisan way with Speaker Mike Johnson that would have shut down the border in its entirety, funneled millions into border states, put border agents across the border, ensuring there's no illegal crossings, put a cap on immigration, and blocked illegal asylum seekers. Donald Trump stopped that from passing. So will you denounce Donald Trump for stopping that bill from passing and putting politics first? And don't mention foreign aid, because if you were listening to the last guy, you know that was already discussed.
I'm saying, why did it take so long for Trump's people to shoot down a bill? Like I said, she's been there for 3.5 years, bro.
Right. They've been working on the border bill since day one, my guy. It was done in a bipartisan way with millions and millions of dollars in a bipartisan way. Do you know how long a bill takes to legislate? Because it takes years. It goes through committee after committee, legal hearing after legal hearing. Yeah, that bill had nothing to do with millions of dollars being allocated in a bipartisan way to the border. Big difference between that and a TikTok bill. TikTok bill you could write overnight.
Yeah, that our government can come together on a TikTok bill, but not actually.
Yeah, and you know what? I agree. So what you should do is go call the MAGA Republican far right and tell them, why would you vote against this border bill when you come together on a TikTok bill? You're making the point, but you're missing the target. So again,
Border agents was never funding for more border agents was never the problem.
yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. Border agents, having enough border agents is part of the problem. You're trying to now nitpick and tear apart the bill.
No, I'm not.
I'm not asking. No, you are. Stop it. I'm not asking you to nitpick the bill. I'm asking you to own up to what you just said. You just said yourself. You just said yourself that you had an issue with the Congress coming together to put down a TikTok bill. I agree. But you will not denounce the MAGA Republicans for ruling in favor of Donald Trump and voting against the bill that would make this conversation about the border redundant. Show that you have a spine. Show that you have an inkling. Shut your mouth. Show you have an inkling. Shut your mouth. Show you have an inkling of a spine and denounce Donald Trump for violating what he was originally running on by slapping down the border bill. Prove you care about the border by saying that was wrong of Donald Trump to stop the border bill. Go ahead.
Compare the numbers.
Go ahead and say what I just said. Do it. You have 3 seconds or you're getting kicked. I'm done playing with you.
Compare the numbers.
3,
They ain't stupid.
2,
Biden let it go.
1. There are less border crossings today under Joe Biden.
Today.
Donald Trump's border security package made absolutely no sense. The wall he said he was going to build was non-existent. And if you like the wall, you ought to thank Barack Obama for building the 400 miles. Mind you, Donald Trump never introduced the wall. That was George Bush. But you don't want to give him credit for that because you all seem to think George Bush is a Democrat now. When I tell you to shut your mouth, you shut it. I think you got the idea that I'm just very nice and a pushover. You're going to learn real quick. So one more fact and one more time will I ask you, will you denounce Donald Trump for violating what he originally ran on by slapping down the bipartisan border deal that would make this very conversation we're having about the border redundant? If the answer is yes, great. If the answer is no, you're a hypocrite and will be escorted off of my live stream. Respond.
He's a fucking hypocrite. Is that what you want to fucking hear?
Perfect. Thank you and have a nice day. Next, if you are voting for Donald Trump, jump on into the guest request and let's have a chat. Don't be shy. Again, folks, I've been very nice tonight and I'm going to continue to be nice. But if you test me, Raymond, thank you so much for the Cash App. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Mars, hi. Are you voting for the felon?
Yes, I am.
Gotcha. And why do you support crime?
Why do I support crime?
It's a nice day out. Are you outside?
Yeah, I'm outside.
Very nice day. I hear the wind. So
Yeah,
anyhow,
I'm outside. Sorry about that.
no, you're good. So do you support crime or do you hate our police?
I neither support crime, neither do I hate the police.
Well, I mean, you picked a felon, right? So, I mean, clearly you got something going on. Are you a felon yourself?
See, I'm not a felon myself, but 20 years ago, I did get arrested for something, and that doesn't make me a bad person.
Right, but you could
Right?
get arrested for, well, actually, maybe, I guess it could make you a bad person. What did you get arrested for?
I had one
You
extra.
got a lot of
drink and-
wind. You got a lot of wind.
Sorry, let me hide behind my house here.
Are you good?
I blew a .086 instead of a .08.
What is going on with this wind? Are you in are you good? Are you in the hurricane area?
I'm not. I'm actually in the northeast, but let me go inside, actually. Let me go inside. I was taking out the garbage.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
I think my point
I'm
here
not,
is,
I'm not
though,
a felon. I don't believe
listen.
Donald Trump is actually. I don't believe Donald Trump is actually a felon. I believe the criminal justice system was used in a way that was never used in the past. And
I disagree, because we used it with Nixon. Hold on. I want to make clear, one, we used it with Nixon. Nixon at least owned up to the crime and resigned from office and took a step back and recognized he was wrong. Nixon also would have gone to prison if not for Gerald Ford pardoning him, right? But Joe Biden wasn't going to pardon Donald Trump. This isn't the first time the justice system has been used to hold criminals, even presidents, accountable for their crimes. Now, I want to recognize, you had mentioned you were arrested. Don't conflate yourself with Donald Trump. People make mistakes. Donald Trump didn't make a simple mistake, though. Donald Trump, right, was found liable of sexual abuse, found liable of civil fraud, and not a couple dollars. He didn't go to a dollar store and take something. No, $488 million. And I should know, because I programmed the website that counts his debt as it increases with interest in every cent, even what he spent for lunch today. Now, I also want to recognize Donald Trump has 34 felony counts. He's awaiting sentencing out on bail. And you can claim it's political persecution, but my question to you is, Hunter Biden committed a crime. Would that not also be political persecution for him then?
What's the crime that Hunter Biden committed?
Doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter to me either. Well, hold on.
It kind of does.
Take a step back. It has in relation to a firearm. Nonetheless, if you don't know the crime, my question to you is, he is, if not more politically relevant than Donald Trump, because he's a member of the first family and his father is currently the president. So wouldn't that be political persecution against
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's a ridiculous argument.
Now,
with all due respect,
no, it's not a ridiculous argument. Hold on.
You cannot
it's
say
not
that
a ridiculous argument.
crimes,
No.
you
Stop
cannot
it. Stop
say
it.
that
Stop. I ain't get my point across. So you're a hypocrite because you're saying that Donald Trump, who committed sexual abuse, civil fraud, $488 million, and 34 felonies, is political persecution. The guy who's out on bail right now awaiting sentencing this November. But Hunter Biden, who was also found guilty and a convicted felon who had a firearm issue. He wasn't supposed to have possession of a firearm and he did. You're saying that isn't political persecution. No, see, now that makes you a hypocrite. My second question here.
That's fine.
My second question here.
That's your opinion.
It's
Go ahead.
really not. It's just an observation. It's not an opinion because that is a fact, right?
I don't agree with that, but let's go on.
You may disagree because you are the hypocrite at question here, right?
No, but I was honest.
You were honest. Yes, you were honest.
I just don't measure every
and I'm being honest.
the same.
Right.
Yeah, right.
You were honest and I'm being honest. I'm not giving an opinion that I think you're a hypocrite. I'm showing you the blatant hypocrisy in what you said.
That's fine. I agree. I agree that I do agree with you.
Do you think that Joe Biden committed a crime?
Do I think Joe Biden committed a crime, or do I
believe, whatever?
Yes,
word you want.
yeah, 1,000%. I believe it.
Yes. Now, one more time. So now this is a second hypocrisy because we recognize you're saying that Joe Biden, who had committee hearing after investigation after committee hearing after investigation, who had an impeachment filed against him by your own party, and then slapped down by your Republican Speaker of the House because there was no substance to charge Joe Biden on. You're saying that lack of evidence and witnesses against him and the acquittal by your own Speaker of the House isn't enough to tell you he's innocent and you think he committed a crime. But I'm not done. But you're saying that Donald Trump, who had all the witnesses and evidence against him and two bipartisan unanimous juries who his own lawyers played part in the appointment and dismissal of, ruling he was guilty unanimously, you're saying that overabundance of evidence isn't enough for you to say he committed the crime. That's hypocrisy too.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Wait. Hold on a second. You're putting words
don't say
in
I'm
my
putting
mouth.
words in your mouth. That's
You are.
absolutely
You are.
not true. No. Say it
I did
again.
not-
Watch
I
this.
said-
Watch this.
I
You said.
said- Hold on.
No.
Stop
You're not going to
putting words in my
lie.
mouth.
Stop it. You're not going to
No, I'm
gaslight.
not.
You're not
If
going to
you
lie.
let
You're
me-
not going to
if
lie.
you let
No,
me-
yeah, we're
let
not
me
going to do
get
that.
it-
Hold on. You're going to listen.
let me get
So I'm
it
going to
out.
break down what you just said. We're going to
Admit.
confirm something real quick. You're not going to gaslight and you're not going to
Oh
lie.
my God.
One
All
more
right, go
time.
ahead.
You just said you believe Joe Biden committed a crime. You said 1,000%.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Now you're saying Donald Trump, you believe is political persecution. Don't change history on this. This is what you said.
I
My
also
point
said
is-
it was a
thank
crime.
you,
It
stop.
was a crime.
You're changing history as to what you said. You're not going to do that when I call you out for the hypocrisy.
Did I
This is
not
on-
say?
I want to be. No, you
I
did not.
say
No, you may
that
not change.
different
You may
crime-
not change the background. So again, you gave two hypocrisies here.
Sure. Go ahead. Okay.
Right. So you are a blatant walking hypocrite. My question to you now is, instead of arguing with me about whether or not Donald Trump is a felon, let's recognize he is a felon, was found guilty by the lawyers that he appointed, the jury appointed by his lawyers that he paid. He is a felon, period. Why are you choosing to vote for a felon? Lori, thank you so much for the Venmo. I appreciate it. Thank you,
repeat
Lori.
my original statement. I am not. I said
are.
that it is a crime.
Don't trick yourself into thinking you're not a
I
hypocrite.
said that it is a crime. I just said that I don't weigh all crimes the same. What he has been convicted for is a joke.
Sexual
I
abuse?
did not say that lady's story has changed so many times and there are so many
Stop
holes.
it. Stop
so
it.
let's
Stop it.
He said, she
Stop
said.
it. Stop
20
it.
years
Stop
later,
it.
right
You're
before the
justifying-
election, somehow she comes
Your
out.
voice? Calm
Let's
down.
be serious.
Lower the voice. Lower the.
Let's be honest.
Hey,
And can I ask you a question?
Calm down.
Can I ask you a question?
No, you didn't answer my
All of
question.
these-
You didn't
Wait, hold
answer my
on.
question. You didn't answer my question, and you're
What's
trying
the
to
question?
pivot. So
What's
again,
the
you're
question?
not listening. You're just preparing to say whatever comes out of your mouth next. That is not how a conversation works, right?
You're not
You are
really debating in good faith
you
either.
No, I'm very much debating in good faith, and I'm making very clear as the guy who's not voting for the felon as to why I would vote against the felon.
I'm
And you are
proud to
justifying.
vote
Shut
for
your
the
mouth.
felon, though.
You are
I'm
justifying the
proud
crimes
to
of a
vote
felon.
for the felon.
You're proud to vote for a felon. That's not something to brag about.
Because the
No.
felonies are so
that's
trivial
not true.
and so
Buddy, you gotta.
unimportant.
All right, hold on. We
You
gotta
are taking
exercise something.
nothing.
You need to shut your
You're-
mouth. Exercise
No, I don't.
quiet time.
You need to speak a
Okay.
little more respect. That's what needs to happen.
1, 2, 3. Eyes on me.
All right, go ahead.
Why
Oh,
did
it
that
worked.
work?
Yeah,
Why
I
did
don't
that
know. It's
work?
amazing. It's
I need you
amazing.
to stop for a second. Recognize that you are saying you're proud to vote for a felon. That is not normal behavior. That is
That's
not
fine.
the American way. That is not how Americans act, but that is how you are acting. That is not normal. Recognize
You know
that.
what?
Like,
I think
hold on.
Americans
No. Own
vote
up.
for who they
Stop.
feel
Own
will be
up.
better
Yeah, Americans
for the
voted out the
country.
felon the first time. You think he's going to win this time? I'm asking you a question. I've now asked you multiple times and you have not answered once. And to be clear, I haven't even gotten to the statistics and the policy yet. So if this, me asking you why are you voting for the felon, is too tough for you, I'm going to ask that you probably are going to want to rethink coming up here.
I answered the question.
Okay? You didn't.
I'll
That's
answer
the
it again.
problem.
I'll
Don't
answer
say
it
again.
again.
Hold on.
Clearly.
Don't say again. You said Donald Trump's not a felon. Donald Trump's not a felon. Here's why I don't think he's a felon. I'm proud to vote for him because he's not a felon. Tell me a policy. Tell me a stat. Tell me a background characteristic. Go.
Sorry, that cut off that last word. Say that last sentence again.
No. Answer the question. I'm done playing. I'm not going to repeat it for a sixth time. If you didn't hear it and you don't respond, you're getting kicked. Stop playing with me. I'm not the
No,
one.
it literally cut
Yeah,
out the
that's
last
fun.
word.
That's so fun and dandy, and I've said it 6 times. 6 times. If you couldn't hear
Just say
it one
one
out of the
last
6 times,
time.
that's on you. No, I may not. You may repeat. Go ahead.
Please just say it
Three.
one more. Just please ask it one last
2.
time. It was cut off. Don't
One.
kick me just yet. Don't
You
kick me just
actually are getting kicked. I asked 6 times. If you're not going to give me the simple respect of answering a question, that's a problem. That's not going to work. To be clear, you're justifying the crimes of a criminal, saying you're proud to vote for a felon, and 3, you're not going to listen. For a felon, and 3, you're not going to listen. Tiffany, I got a little bit of an echo. Are you on, Tiffany? I got a little bit of an echo. Are you on, Tiffany?
Yeah, I didn't.
Bye, Tiffany. Try again. Let's get up our next guest, folks. Again, I've been so nice. I've been so nice. But I will match the energy. If we're going to raise our voices and get rude and stop listening and cutting off, I will do the same. Hi, Marley. Are you voting for the criminal?
Actually, I was just wondering if you could change my mind because I'm a little bit undecided. I have points that I like from both parties.
Gotcha. I gotta ask here, when were you born?
I was born in 1992.
Okay. So tell me about the points that you support on both sides.
Well, I think that Donald Trump has...
My hands are here, I even kick her. But I will say, she did say Donald Trump has, and then left. So she's right, Donald Trump doesn't have anything. Donald Trump has no policy. She was actually accurate in that statement she just made, where she said Donald Trump has, and then got kicked. That was correct. That was correct. Donald Trump has no policy to talk about. Josh, hi, are you voting for the felon?
You know, actually, I just wanted to say I really appreciate everything you're saying here. Everything's fantastic. I'm definitely voting for Harris, so I don't want to take any more of your time, man, but thank you.
Nah, you're good. Thank you so much for coming up. I appreciate you taking the time. Alrighty, folks, let's get up our next guest. Folks, if you do want to support me, and I do greatly appreciate it, all goes towards my college. Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App are in the bio. Yeah. Hi, guest. Henry, how you doing? Ran away. Try again. Folks, if you are voting for Donald Trump, whew, that cough. Oh my gosh, this cough. You know what? Let's start a different fun. Get Johnny a new pair of lungs. Support Johnny. Venmo, PayPal, Cash App in the bio. Let's get Johnny a new pair of lungs so that he can stop using his inhaler. Hi, guest. How you doing? Hello. Tashika's here. Oh my goodness. All right, let's get. Hi, Tashika. Hello, my beautiful friend.
Oh,
Hello. How you doing? I'm sorry I didn't see you in there.
How are you?
I just saw your message there. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I open my eyes, I see you killing it, and I'm just like, okay, it's time to start mooching. Period.
It's always a good time when you join us, so I'm glad that you're up here.
Of course. Thank you so much, Johnny.
Hannah, how you doing? 3,
What's
2.
up?
Hannah?
It's hammer.
That's what I said. Hannah, what are you talking about?
Hammer. There's M's, not N's.
It looks like a bunch of N's to me. I don't know. Anyway, so why are you voting for the felon?
Your fucking eyes.
Okay.
You guys are dumb idiots.
Hold on one sec. Calm down. Calm down. This isn't that emotional. I'll put my eye drops in. Anyway, so why are you voting for the felon?
Looking at you make me emotional.
In the arms of the angel.
Why are we already angry?
I don't know. Was it me? Was I the problem? Because I called him Hannah? Oops. Oopsie poops. Whoopsies.
Chad, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm going to have to fly across the fucking country.
I'm so excited. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm excited. Arnett and Nicole. Thank you so much, Nicole. I just received your Cash App. And Arnett, thank you so much as well. Arnett, that's a beautiful name, by the way.
Hey,
my flight bill's $500.
Oh my gosh.
I still haven't paid for the hotel because I don't know.
Man, I don't know how you're doing it. I'm just trying to afford a new microphone over here. I'm like, hi, guest. Are you voting for the felon?
Hey there, I'm just from overseas. I just wanted to say that Kamala Harris hangs around with criminals.
Hangs around with criminals?
No, I don't even think. I think he was going to